Hey guys, this is Production Music Live. My name is Francois and today we are going to make a simple melodic techno beat here in Ableton Live 10 from scratch using only Ableton Live elements, for example wavetable, operator, a couple of samples and MIDI tracks here, only native effects, native instruments, and at the end of the video we are going to compare our results with a couple of other third-party synths over here, but don't worry if you don't have them, you can follow along with this video only using your Ableton Live 10 elements. Let's get started with a new project. I'm opening up a new live set and we are starting from scratch here. So the first thing we want to do is go to our instruments here in the browser, select wavetable, and drag an instance onto the first MIDI track, as we are going to only work in the session view for this video. Bring the gain down a bit, by default they're always a bit loud, and double click into this area here to create a MIDI clip. So this is going to be our first MIDI clip, and we are going to start with our chord progression actually. I'm going to set the length to 8 bars, because it's a bit longer than just 1 bar. And we are going to write our chord progression in the scale of E minor. And if you're not too familiar with the scale, I'm going to put in a little cheat sheet here to help us. And I'm going to start with an A minor scale, which is the simplest scale using all the white keys. So putting that in. So this starts with A and then all the white keys. Just draw all of them in here. So this is an A minor scale. If you are in A minor, these are your available notes, and these here would be sounding pretty wrong. So select everything and transpose it up to E as the starting note, which is up here. And now this is what the structure of the E minor scale looks like. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you might want to check out our harmony and chord progressions course where we are going into these concepts in detail, and I'm putting a link in the description. But for now, I'm just going to use this scale here and put it in the negative area here in the beginning as a cheat sheet for you guys to follow along and always see what notes are available for our chord progression. So I'm quickly going to copy it up and down. So we cover the range we want to play, and now we can get started, and we always know, okay, I can play this note or I can't. So you could also fold it to hide all the other notes that aren't part of the scale, but I kind of like it that way. So also selecting this headphone here so we can preview notes. And let's get started. Our first chord is going to start at C, C2, down here. And we're going to play C major, major chord, 3 semitones, 2 semitones. And we're going to play a 7th chord, so putting in B. You can see scale degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the 7th one. If we play it back, nice. Rename it to pad sound. Actually, I want to bring this E up an octave. Okay, great. And now we want to create our next chord. And I want to go up to E. And I'm hearing something like, this is G. See, all of these notes are still part of our scale here. But actually I want to play a slight variation. I don't want to play this E here, but instead I want to use A down here. This is a very interesting chord because if I transpose G down an octave, selecting it, holding Shift arrow key down, we have, this is an E minor chord with an added 4 here. These always create nice tension. Really like these chords, but I'm transposing G up an octave. Okay, and before we go on, actually go into Wavetable down here and select a second oscillator as well down here and put in a bit of a different shape. And this is the amplifier, and this is our envelope for the amplifier, and you see it has a harsh attack and then it falls down, but we want to play it consistently. And it's quite loud right now, so what we can do is bring down the volume, but actually what I want to do is bring down the frequency of the filter. Okay, also select an EQ from the audio effects, picking up EQ8 to cut off some of the low frequencies down here. You see we have internal clipping here, it's red. I actually want to get rid of this by turning the volume down to -13. And let's also open up the sound a little bit by using unison, shimmer, and create 3 voices. Nice. Okay, we can work with that for now, so I'm going back into the MIDI clip. And we're writing our 3rd chord. Select the 2nd one. Copy it, holding Option. And I want to play. This is perfectly possible. We can go from bass note E to bass note D here, and we can go from G to F. So we have. And now we just need to resolve it to come back to. I hear something like. Let's see how that works. Oh, we actually still need a bass note. It's probably going to be A. Oh, this is also nice. Oh, this is beautiful. I like this one. Okay, cool. So I'm sticking with this one, and we can go on to our next element. And I want to add an arpeggio because this melodic deep, melodic techno kind of style always kind of starts to unfold when there's an arpeggio kind of lead playing. So select Wavetable here, duplicate the track, and we have a second one. I'm going to rename this one to ARP for arpeggio. And let's quickly go to MIDI effects. I actually want to make it custom, but first do it automatic here. So double click on this track and select the arpeggiator, put it in front of Wavetable here. Playback everything. Rate down to 1/12. Okay, now we still need to fix our sound of the arpeggio here because it's too similar to the pad. So what I want to do is make it a bit more plucky. And let's actually click on our matrix here. And we have envelopes here to control other targets. And one of the targets I want to control right now is the frequency of the filter. So select the frequency, it shows up here as you can see. And now we are going to use the second envelope to control the modulation of this filter. So putting this one to 100% because whatever envelope 2 is doing, I want it 100% applied on this filter frequency knob. Go to modulation sources. Don't worry too much about this if you're not familiar with sound design at all. We actually have a lot of sound design courses on our website. So if you're interested in sound design, feel free to check out the links in the description. Select envelope number 2 here. And this one is going to be the shape of the movement on the frequency knob of this filter. Now, sounds a bit complicated. Let's just do it and listen to it. See, if I'm going down, it doesn't open up as much anymore, but if I go up here, it opens up all the way. Actually, I want to set this to 12 decibels per octave. 24, sorry. Yeah. Very nice. Actually, we want to put in a delay here, audio effects, and pick up a ping pong delay and drag it in here. And put it up to higher frequencies here, a little bit like that. Okay, there's way too much feedback down, drive it down. Go to around 30 and move it back a bit more towards the middle here. Okay, keep it that way. The exact values don't matter that much here for this little session, but we want to have this modulation on our frequency of the filter for the arpeggio so it sounds a bit more plucky. Okay, let's put it together with the chords. Maybe we can turn this down a little. Okay, and now let's go back into Wavetable Arpeggio here and create a custom arpeggio for our purposes. Let's copy this pad sound MIDI information holding Option, copy it over here and rename it to arp custom. And arpeggiator off for now. We're going to create our own arpeggio right now. And we're going to use this chord structure, but we're going to place it differently. So let me quickly, shorten this and we make sure we're playing 16th notes. Yep. Right click, grid 16th notes. And okay, so now we quickly want to create an interesting arpeggio pattern. So I'm going to delete these notes. We're probably going to start somewhere at C, and then we're going to end up somewhere at G. So I'm putting in G, and I want this type of structure. Every 6 notes, I want to come back to the upper note of my arpeggio. I want to start on position 1, 2. And now I'm keeping the structure. So this is what I want. Now I can take all of these, go down to E, and now go down to C, and now go down to G, for example. Okay, and copy it down to C. And go. So you see we're always leaving this one space here. So after the highest note, there's 1/16th note pause, and then we're repeating. But we're not going to do this in the end here. In the end, this is the highest note. Okay, and now we can repeat this pattern with the other chords here. So I'm taking this one out. I'm copying this one. Maybe you remember the bass note was E. E. So this still doesn't work too well, so we need to make some adjustments. This has to go down. Okay, works for now. Let's go to the third chord. So it's going to be root note D. This sounds very wrong. If you fold it, you can see right away there's an extra note here that's not part of our scale. So move it up right away. And this one here as well. Folding it. See, it's fine now. Actually stop this one for now and the last one, starting at B, F sharp, A, D. Again, check your scale quickly. There you go. I'm usually doing all of this by ear, but I just want to show you this technique. So if your ear sometimes tricks you into playing wrong notes, this is how you can avoid it. You can also play higher notes here, actually. I didn't like that too much. Let's try this one. Play it together with the pad. And maybe Okay. Okay, I'm also going to make a copy of this one again for our bass. So duplicate and rename this to bass. And this is going to be our bass sound now, dragging it over here. I'm quickly going in here, deleting all the chords, just keeping the bass notes. Let's actually select all of them and bring them down an octave. And we need to get rid of the low cut here. Okay, get rid of unison. We only want one mono voice on our bass, so no unison. And click on poly to put it to mono. Actually, we can enter a sub oscillator. It's actually quite subby already, so just take off some of the high frequencies here. Actually, we can make this a bit more dynamic by going into the amplifier here and bringing down the sustain. Maybe something with a longer decay, so it goes BAM. EQ down a level. Maybe we can take this one into sawtooth. Okay, and close it a bit further down. 300 maybe. Play everything together. Going to bring the wavetable filter frequency down a bit here. Can also think of putting a reverb on here. Reverb. Getting rid of some of the early reflections and focusing on the diffusion. Oh, that's too much. And dry. I think the decay time should be shorter. Everything together. Try to make it a bit fatter by using a saturator with a bit warmer. So this right here, right after the device. I kind of like it. Okay, enough is enough here. Let's actually make some drums, and let's put in a kick sound. You can use any kick sample. I'm going to use a couple of samples from my Melodic Techno drum sample pack here. PML Melodic Techno Volume 1 drum samples. I have a couple of new drum samples here. I really like them and want to use them from now on. And MIDI. Select a MIDI track. Okay, use number 003 if you're using this pack. Link is in the description. If you're using your own samples, just select a kick sample that sounds a little bit like this one here and drag it in onto a MIDI track, or like drop instrument or sample here. Okay, and bring down the gain a little bit here. Double click and a simple kick pattern on our starting note C3. Duplicate, Command D. Okay, rename to kick. Going right on, duplicate this one and rename it to clap. And go first position off, third position off, and look for a clap sound. Claps and snares in my case. Oh, this one is cool. So use this one. Actually, let's take a length of 2 bars here. Copy the pattern. And bring this one early. The 16th note too early, the last one. Okay, another copy of the kick track. Duplicate and rename to hi-hat. Go to any hi-hat samples you have. Maybe I'm going to use this one. Like I could also, select the MIDI track here and delete this device and then load it up here. And now it's in the first position. The hi-hat we want to use has to come in the third. So it's also quite common to do 16th notes here. So something like this, and then change the velocities of these notes. So B activates the pen, then you can just draw velocity levels here. Oh, you need to make sure you're selecting nothing, and then you can go make it a bit more dynamic. You have a bit of a groove in there. And you can obviously support this by playing a sidechain. Go to Audio Effects, pick up a compressor, drag it behind your hi-hat, open this arrow, sidechain, audio input from the kick as a trigger, kick. And now duck the hi-hat here whenever the kick is playing, ratio up to say 4. And we can actually copy this compressor to our pad sound, to the end, also to our arpeggio. So basically sidechain all of these elements to the kick. So we have a clean kick. hi-hat a bit quieter. And this is a bit harsh here. Moderate sidechaining. And if you have such an arpeggio here playing 16th notes and you have a hi-hat playing 16th notes as well, you could get creative with your sidechaining. For example, you could use the arpeggio here as a trigger for the hi-hat with the 16th notes. So duplicating this one. So if you don't understand any of what I just said, we also have beginner courses on our website. Check out the link in the description, Ableton Live beginners courses, where we're completely starting from scratch, explaining everything in detail. So if that's interesting to you, check out the link in the description. I'm going to pick up the audio from the arpeggio, which is our second channel. And now whenever the arpeggio is playing, this hi-hat is ducking a little, but I want to have it a bit more advanced. Let's look at the frequencies of the arpeggio. So our highest note is playing somewhere here in this area. So if we look at it in detail, it's around 390 Hertz. That's when our highest note kicks in. And whenever our highest note here in the arpeggio is kicking in, I want to duck this hi-hat. So what I can do is sidechain to the wavetable of the arpeggio using an EQ here, low cut, and saying we are starting around 350 maybe to just pick up the highest notes of the arpeggio. And we are doing this with a sharp Q. You can see the gain reduction happening here. And notice how the hi-hat is getting an interesting groove. It's not so mechanic in this way. Also, going back to my drum samples here, I also have a couple of loops that could be used on top. So this one is basically doing what we just did here. This one has a little bit of stereo effect on these hi-hats, so let's drag this one onto Audio 7 loop. And actually, since this one has 16th notes, this one is just going to play every third note. So I'm going to copy this pattern and I'm just going to use every third note. And maybe use if this one is already so bright, we can use a darker hi-hat here. Going back. Yeah, how about this one? Just use this one here. Okay, so now we made this simple beat here in the session view of Ableton Live 10 using only elements available in Ableton Live 10, like the wavetable synth and, you know, custom native Ableton effects here. We still don't have anything on our master channel, so we could actually go ahead and go to audio effects and put in a glue compressor, for example, like putting everything a bit more together. Reacts on our kick. Makeup. And a very simple approach is using an OTT from the multi-band dynamics. So if you drag this in, amount has to go down substantially because this is a harsh effect. Okay, then you could put in an EQ with a bit of a low cut here at 30 Hertz or 35, something like that. Bring down this loop a little more. And now at the end we can use a limiter and make it a lot louder. We still have a lot of headroom left. You see, I was producing very quietly. I actually prefer doing it like that compared to having to take down channels all the time to avoid clipping on the master. If you produce at a lower volume, it's much easier to control your headroom at the end of the mix. Okay, so this is our simple beat. If you're interested in the drum samples, check out the link in the description. If you're interested in learning more about producing music or tracks from start to finish in Ableton Live, check out our website. We have a lot of start to finish courses there. Also, if you want to learn more about harmony writing and chord writing and melody writing, we have a course on harmony and chord progressions and a how to write melodies course. Should be interesting in that case. And now we are going to compare some of these elements here to third-party instruments just for fun at the end. As you can see, I forgot to install the Legend synth here on this computer where I'm recording this tutorial. Anyways, we still have a couple of other ones to check out. So this is basically the same thing, just colored a bit differently. And here you can see we are playing it once with the operator, once with wavetable, once with Serum, and with Diva, and with the Legend, but Legend is not available at the moment. So let's check out operator, what it sounds like. Now I have to admit I didn't try to make exact copies of the sounds. I just tried to make more or less copies of what it sounds like. Okay, heading over to wavetable. See, I used a mid-side EQ here to cut off some low end in the middle and leaving it on the sides, creating a bit more stereo effect by that. and it's just a sine wave here. Okay, going over to Serum. Super nice sound. Very simple but effective pad sound here. You see a bit of unison on both of these oscillators, so making it wider. And this one has a bit more grit, distortion. I'm going to put links to a couple of our sound packs and preset packs for melodic deep, melodic techno, boiler room style into the description as well. And Diva. Super nice. I really like the shape of the envelope. Like the attack sounds really nice on this one. Okay, it's nothing special, just a simple pad. And bass sound. Okay, so this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial here. Feel free to check out our website productionmusiclive.com, our website supporting this channel, giving us the ability to make videos like this and more advanced things. Also, feel free to leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you next time.